Confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Elena Kagan are underway. Senate Democrats believe her confirmation is a done deal, but Republicans say President Obama's latest nominee still has some explaining to do. Paul Strand has more.
Democrats are saying no matter who's nominated, if Obama picked them, Republicans will oppose them.
It's reached the point that if he had nominated Moses, the lawgiver, some would have said we can't have him because, among other things, he hasn't produced a birth certificate.
Democrats are also confident the Republicans haven't come up with a big enough issue to beat down Kagan.
I believe the drift net has been out to find some disqualifying factor, and it hasn't been found.
Still, Republicans will blast away at several areas, probably the main one being that Kagan's long years as a liberal political activist means she'll end up being a liberal judicial activist, not judging cases strictly on what the Constitution has to say.
I think this nominee does have serious deficiencies, issues that need to be raised. The American people are concerned about their courts. They're concerned about a growing, expansive government that seems to be beyond anything they've ever seen before, and they'd like to know what their judges might have to do about it.
Will the Constitution control her, or will she try to control the Constitution?
Conservatives point to a radically activist Israeli judge Kagan has called her judicial hero. He's expressed the belief that judges have every right to impose their own agenda on a nation by changing the law as they see fit. Democrat Feinstein, though, thinks Americans will like what they get from a Justice Kagan.
She will bring, I think, a new breath into the court. It will be a mainstream breath. It will not be far right. It will not be far left. It'll be in the middle.
Republicans say it's way too soon to assume the 50-year-old will become Justice Kagan.
We're going to have a challenging hearing, and I think she'll do well, but she's going to have to earn her way onto the court.
Other possible areas of controversy: Kagan's stiff resistance to the military recruiting at Harvard when she was the dean there, even with 2 wars going on. She was mad at the military for not letting gays serve openly.
Then there's the abortion issue. Pro-life partisans are blasting Kagan for being pro-choice, but radical pro-choice types are upset with her for opposing some partial birth abortions and taxpayer funding of abortion. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Senator Robert Byrd died early this morning at a Washington, D.C. area hospital. He was 92. Byrd, a Democrat, was the longest-serving senator in U.S. history, holding his seat for more than 50 years. He also served as chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee, which oversees 1/3 of the $3 trillion federal budget. Byrd was well known, too, for bringing home billions of federal dollars for his West Virginia constituents. Tropical storm Alex gaining strength as it heads towards Mexico's eastern coast. Alex is already flooding Central America. It's expected to become the first hurricane of the season. There's good news, though. The National Hurricane Center says it will steer clear of the Gulf oil spill. The Tea Party has proven its influence when it comes to political candidates, but the conservative grassroots movement is also taking on issues like immigration. Mark Martin talked with the leader of the Phoenix, Arizona Tea Party about that state's controversial law.
When Arizona Governor Jan Brewer signed Senate Bill 1070 into law, Kelly Townsend was grateful. Townsend is the president of the Greater Phoenix Tea Party.
Well, our group with the Greater Phoenix Tea Party worked very hard to help persuade the legislators to vote yes on this bill. We're very much in support.
The new Arizona law requires state and local police to question a person's immigration status if there's probable cause during a police stop for another offense. Opponents of the law say it will lead to racial profiling, putting a bullseye on Hispanics. Townsend says that's not true.
It's not about the race. It's about your legal status here in this country.
The Greater Phoenix Tea Party president says the new law is also about financially rescuing Arizona.
I think the Tea Party is very much state sovereignty and the rights of the state, and we recognize this is an issue. Arizona is in such a crisis. The amount that we're spending compared to the amount that we're bringing in, the disparity is mind-boggling, and a large part of that is due to the programs for the illegal aliens.
Townsend says the Tea Party is about fiscal responsibility, and she questions how responsible it is to pay for programs for illegal immigrants who don't have the rights of the Constitution. Arizona State Representative David Gowan Sr. agrees.
We lose over $2 billion a year to illegal immigration. That's incarceration, education, and hospitalization.
Townsend says to secure the border requires funding, and the money isn't there when Arizona's budget is in crisis.
I think Arizona really needs prayer. You know, we've got a lot of things going on. I would ask for prayer for our state is for steadfastness and also mercy for people. You know, we understand that God loves these people just as much as he loves the citizens, but at the same time that we do take that stand that this is our country, these are our laws. God requires us to follow the laws of the land.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Phoenix, Arizona.
President Obama disagrees with other world leaders about the next step in fighting the global recession. At the G20 summit in Toronto, leaders said their countries should focus now on cutting their growing budget deficit. And after the recent Greek debt crisis sparked fears of financial collapse, Canada's Prime Minister says now is the time for nations to get their fiscal houses in order. But President Obama says he thinks the world may still need more stimulus spending to aid the recovery.